My name is Patrick McSweeney. I work with Convergence Resource Center here in Milwaukee. We're glad you're here for the kickoff of the 6th annual HEMAD campaign. We'll be hearing from several important community leaders from around the nation in the next few minutes. But before that, we want to start out by defining the issue. First off, trafficking is a crime that exploits young children, teenagers, men, and women of all races. Victims of human trafficking are subjected to force, coercion for sexual exploitation or forced labor. And sex trafficking is a modern day form of slavery in which a sex act is induced by force, fraud, or coercion, or in the case where the person induced to perform an act is under the age of 18. Today, we're announcing a project where people and not government agencies can take the lead and stop this crime from happening in their neighborhoods and communities. We're kicking off the 6th annual HEMAD campaign as this movement spreads from Milwaukee across Wisconsin, the Midwest, and the nation. Now, HEMAD stands for Human Trafficking Educators, working with men and boys to stand against the demand. HEMAD asks men to take a public stand against human trafficking and the commercial sexual exploitation of adults and children. It's a program of Convergence Resource Center. And for those of you who don't know, Convergence Resource Center, also known as CRC, is a 20-year-old faith-based nonprofit community service organization that provides support for women rebuilding their lives after trauma, with an emphasis on justice-involved women and survivors of human trafficking. And while CRC focuses on helping women, our focus today is on men. So let's get things started. It's my honor to introduce our first speaker. Dr. Celia Williamson has dedicated her career to conducting scholarly research on human trafficking's causes and effects, and helping train healthcare workers, government agencies, and law enforcement organizations to offer effective evidence-based programming that moves victims to survivors and survivors to thrivers. Dr. Williamson is the executive director of the Human Trafficking
You can go ahead, Dr. Williamson. I think he froze.
Okay. So thank you so much for the opportunity. And we know what human trafficking is. So I have a few minutes, and I want to say that everyone is not at equal risk when we talk about young people. We need to know that there are young people at elevated risk. So when someone says to you, anyone can be trafficked, that's technically true. But there are a few populations at higher risk, and those are youth with disabilities, youth of color, foreign-born youth, youth in poverty, and the LGBTQ youth. And then any youth that may be system involved in child protection or juvenile court, kids who have run away from home or are homeless, have educational issues, or spend a lot of time on social media. Those young people are vulnerable. And human trafficking is less about kidnapping and snatching young people in white vans that we hear about, these misunderstandings. And it's more about manipulation and befriending and loving your new partner, your new boyfriend. So we need to understand that there aren't typically chains involved, but there are more metaphorical chains, meaning chaining the young person's mind and the young person's heart over chaining the young person's wrists and feet. It's more about that type of chaining. So men involved in this movement are critical because men can mentor other boys, right? Men who tell girls, their daughters, their friends, that they are smart, that they are capable, that they are confident, that they are beautiful. When someone walks up to a girl later on in life and says, "You are beautiful," she says, "I know." Mm-hmm. So she is not vulnerable to that. We need men who tell women and girls they're capable, they're confident, they're beautiful, because when she knows it inside, she is not vulnerable to that. We need men who teach boys to be men. Now, I want to explain to you that there's a difference. Male, the definition of male is about anatomy. The definition of boy is someone who says, can you do for me? Can you cook for me? Can you buy for me? Can you give me clothes? Can you give me love? Can you give me sex? What can you do for me? That's a boy. A man is, what can I do for you? How can I love you? How can I support you? How can I care for you? How can I protect you? That is a man. And so only men can teach boys to be men, right? So you are here because you are a man. Otherwise, you wouldn't be concerned about taking care of your community. You are a man, you understand that men reach out and take care of other people. And so as men, you provide nurturing, love, and support to girls and boys. And so that is my message today, is you are here. Your role is to tell women and girls how valuable they are so that they know it deeply in their soul. And they need to hear it from men. You are here to mentor boys to be men. And so that's really my message for you today, is I'm excited to be here, that you will go forward and you will do important work that you probably will not see the fruits of, but it indeed will have a ripple effect in your communities and around your loved ones. And we're going to be old school. We're going to support the village and not just worry about our own, but worry about everybody. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I recognize that I am in the presence of greatness, and I appreciate your time. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Dr. Williamson. Hi, our next speaker joins us from the Raleigh, North Carolina area. Marcus Ogden was a standout offensive lineman at Howard University. He then followed his brother Jonathan's footsteps, was drafted into the NFL and played 5 seasons with the Tennessee Titans, Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, and Jacksonville Jaguars. Marcus is the author of several best-selling books. He's a business owner, has bounced back from hardship, and is a business consultant and motivational speaker. When he learned about HEMAD this past summer, he jumped at the chance to join our team, and we're happy to have Marcus Ogden as part of HEMAD. Marcus.
Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate it. Dr. Celia, that was amazing. As a former professional athlete, as a man, as a huge man, I'm large man, I'm 6'6", 275 pounds. I have 2 daughters. I have a 19-year-old stepdaughter and I have a 9-year-old daughter. And in my work as a father, I'm always telling my girls how beautiful they are, how important they are, how amazing they are, because I want that to be their everyday norm, because it is the norm for me. And in order to stop trafficking, and that's so well said by you, Celia, is that it's not about getting captured in a white van and getting brought off. Like, that's what you think about, but it is the mental manipulation. It is the constant, the children aren't hearing enough from home, their loved ones. They do matter. They are important. They are special. They are unique. And when you don't hear that enough, someone tells you that, you can then be succumb to what they're trying to do to, again, manipulate you, traffic you, and all these other things. So it's so important that men really step up to the plate and don't just be, like I said, don't just be a father, right? Like I say, I have a plaque that's in my office. Any man can be a father. It takes a special man to be a dad, right? So I'm gonna always be dad to my daughters. I'm always going to be dad to anybody that I come in contact with, men or women that just don't have somebody to tell them how important they are. And that's coaching. And that's where I have a love of the youth, because the youth are our future. So in order to really make this something where we can all go forward, we have to understand the problem. And I learned something just today, thinking about the mental manipulation, all these other things. That is a form of trafficking. That's probably the largest form of trafficking that there is. And so we as men can do our part to just let people know, especially our daughters, nieces, anybody we come in sisters, and we come in contact with, right, that they do matter, that they are special, that they are important. And when you bring that to the table, that's something I'm going to do. So to me, even after that, I'm going to even tell my daughter more than I normally do how amazing she is and how great she is and what she's all about. Because at the end of the day, we have to really step up and make a change. So when we all come together with the right reason, with the right intention, with a pure heart, we can all help to stop this horrific form of mental abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse people go through by just saying, you do matter, you are important, and you do have a chance to be great in your life. Thank you all for having me. And Patrick, great to meet you in person. But I'm all about to stop this horrible epidemic that is just affecting so many people around the globe. So thank you.
We're happy to have you on the team. Thanks for joining us, Marcus. Human trafficking is not just a local issue, it's a regional problem. Daryl Morin has a national and international focus, our next speaker. As president and CEO of Advanced Wireless, he serves customers in 14 countries. But as president and CEO of Forward Latino, he leads a nonprofit with affiliates in 29 states across the country. Forward Latino is working to strengthen our democracy, protect the environment, improve the lives of working families, and standing up for equality and civil rights. Daryl's also on the board of the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, the Milwaukee Jewish Museum, and he also board secretary for Employ Milwaukee, and he's a vice president of the board of the Hmong American Peace Academy, our nation's largest educational institution serving the Hmong population. That was a mouthful. Welcome, Daryl.
Well, Patrick, thank you for that overly generous introduction. But let me start just by saying, bienvenidos a todos. Es un placer para estar aquí con ustedes hoy. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. I only wish such a thing wasn't necessary. I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to speak with you here today about the very real threat that exists in our communities. Of course, I'm talking about human trafficking and sex trafficking. It's a crime that strikes at the very human dignity of each of its victims, where criminals exploit the marginalized, often young children, for nothing more than profit. This week, while many of us are gathering with our loved ones to give thanks, at that same time, there will be those who will be suffering from the most heinous crimes possible. While marginalized and minority communities are disproportionately affected by these heinous crimes, it's not something that's limited to any one demographic group. It is happening to everyone. And recruitment and abduction doesn't just happen on the streets. It often begins online in our homes. So it's something we all must be vigilant of. Just days ago, right here in southeastern Wisconsin, a man was found guilty of sex trafficking. This is big business we're talking about, folks. His territory was Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, and Ohio. In August, the FBI released the results of their Operation Cross Country, where they worked with state and local law enforcement across the country, and they rescued over 200 victims. More than 50 were underage, and through that process, they found and identified another 59 children that had been reported missing by their parents. Sadly, this is just a small fraction of the tens of thousands that fall victim to human trafficking every year right here in the United States. That's why we've come together today. We cannot abolish sex trafficking simply by upping law enforcement. We need to address the demand. That is why we're asking for your help today, to be vigilant. If you see something, say something. And we're also asking you we're pleading with you to take the HEMAD pledge. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you once again, everybody, for this opportunity, and God bless.
Thank you, Daryl. Our next speaker joins us now from Minneapolis. We're kind of ping-ponging around the nation. Dr. Tom Weaver left his career as a family practice physician to focus more on holistic and complementary practices that are sustainable ecologically and financially. He's a longtime volunteer of Mankind Project International, a progressive and inclusive men's organization that provides experiential training, encouraging men to live missions of service and integrity. In addition, he is the board chairman of the Twin Cities Men's Center, which provides support programs for men ranging from health and wellness, addiction, trauma and abuse survivors, issues, anger management, and retirement issues, and more. HEMAD and CRC are glad to have a partner with him and the Twin Cities Men's Center. Tom, welcome.
Well, thank you. And greetings from Minnesota. We do the land acknowledgement for the Dakota people. Minnesota, the word actually means where the water reflects heaven in the Dakota language. So I'm here today as the board chair. Tom Maher reached out, or you reached out to him many months ago, and we have the HEMAD pledge posted around our Twin Cities Men's Center. We are men serving men in the Twin Cities, providing resources for men seeking to grow body, mind, and spirit, and to advocate for healthier family and community relationships. That's our mission statement. And we've been around for 47 years. We have a very robust, healthy sexual boundaries class that I attended yesterday, and we posted the HEMAD pledge too. We are educators for healthy sexual boundaries. And so that's the pledge that I took. I pledged to educate men on the importance of ending human trafficking. And those men that have healthy sexual boundaries will not be grooming. There are some men that show up that they are aware that they may be grooming young people, and that we support them and mentor them. I mean, I have two sons who one's 38 and one's 42. So I've been a dad for quite a while, but how to pass on the knowledge of how to be with people in a good way. And so I'm grateful that we're part of that, and we're in the Minnesota connection, and I'm just grateful to be part of this group today. And we will continue to advocate for healthier family and community relationships in the area of human trafficking. So grateful to be here. I don't talk a lot, so, and Tom is on vacation, but he's the guy that set this thing up, and so I'm here in his stead to support this advocacy that we're doing, not only out of Wisconsin to our east, but nationally, and looks like internationally. So with thank you for all being here, and in Dakota language, we'll say Matakwe Oyasin, which is the word for we're all connected, we're all related.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much. Our next speaker, we're going to come back a little home to Wisconsin. Ken Jinlak is a mental health and substance use disorder therapist. He is a master-level social worker and is a licensed clinical social worker, clinical substance abuse counselor, and independent clinical supervisor, and is the CEO and executive director of Serenity Inc. He is responsible for overseeing the 20-year-old organization's administration and operations to empower men struggling with substance abuse with a holistic program focused on compassion, healing, personal growth, while fostering a compassionate community of accountability on their journey to recovery. And like the Twin City Men's Center, we're glad that Serenity Inns has joined the HEMAD team. Ken.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm honored to be here, and collectively, you know, as we pursue to break the shackles from sex trafficking. And as Dr. Celia said, the shackles are not physical, however, they are mental. And as we look to eradicate that, and to make it a better place. And so not only am I here as the CEO of Serenity Inns, but also a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Kappa Phi chapter in Milwaukee, that we stand for protection of womanhood. And so I always like to say that I believe that, I feel that. And when we talk about protection of womanhood, it's overall, it's not just the immediate people in my family. And so I had 3 sisters coming up, as well as I have a daughter. And so it always been dear to my heart to empower her. And so as I work into the field with the men, we have a 12-bed facility and also a 14-bed apartment building. And so as I work with the men to empower them, um, it also helps them to become a better man in the community. And so overall, I always look at that ripple effect. We focus on substance use disorder, but again, as you stated, Patrick, we take the holistic approach. And so what does that mean? We look at the entire person sitting in front of us. A person as myself that's in long-term recovery, I understand the ripple effect, and going back home, going back to the community, and actually being a stand-up man, not a boy, but a man, and start to take care of business. And so it's, again, that is something that's near and dear to my heart. As man, as we foster healing here at Serenity Inns, we cannot turn a blind eye to the vulnerable victims entangled in sex trafficking. We must use our hearts, our hands, and our resources to help others, to help the women that's enslaved by sex trafficking.
And we appreciate everything you do, everything the fraternity is doing, and will continue to do in this fight. We're glad
Thank
you're
you.
on our side.
Thank you.
Our next speaker has seen human trafficking up close. Debbie Lassiter works with human trafficking survivors at Convergence Resource Center. For many years, she's helped them overcome the trauma they've suffered, providing emotional support, encouragement, and a helping hand to learn skills that can help those survivors re-enter the workplace and regain their lives. Debbie.
Hello, everyone, and thank you all for being here. I'm really excited about this, and we look forward to starting that count at 0 every year and setting a new goal. This year, our goal is 75,000. So we do encourage you to share this video, as we'll make it available to you and get more men to take the pledge. I just want to share a little bit from the women's perspective, the ladies that I work with. And we do want to just let you know that one of them was scheduled to speak today, but she's not feeling well. So I'm jumping in her place, because we need to include them in whatever remedies we have and whatever plans that we make. When the first year we did this and the women saw men taking a stand against human trafficking, they became very emotional. And they said, we've never seen men do this. We've never seen men take a stand against this, because they were always on the other side of it. So I want to let you know that this impact not only reaches people who were trying to encourage to stop taking part in human trafficking, it also reaches those that have lived experience of being trafficked, because it encourages them to know that there are men out there who will take a stand and who will say, no, not on my watch. And so we really appreciate you being here, and I want to let you know that this really touches them. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak for a few minutes.
Thank you, Debbie. We're going to bring it home now. Our final speaker is Arnold Syfax, Sr. He's the executive pastor of New Testament Church in Milwaukee. He's also the vice chair of the board for Convergence Resource Center, and he is a friend of HEMAD since its inception 6 years ago. Arnold, you're going to be introing our video for the year. Take it away.
Well, thank you, Patrick, so very much. And thank all of you for being a part of this and partnering with us as we move forward to eradicate this atrocity that we see. I did a quick Google news search this morning with human trafficking, and the results were disturbing. Of course, Salt Lake City area, a couple of faces changed after the alleged human trafficking of 2 women in Guatemala was forced to work without pay. There's a 2-day human trafficking sting by police outside of Atlanta, resulting in 26 arrests, including 6 women identified as victims of human trafficking. And then there was Cassandra Ventra, better known as the singer Casey, who was accused who accused a former boyfriend, which we're all quite familiar with, I believe, the music mogul Sean Pitty-Combs, of raping and sex trafficking her during a 10-year abusive relationship. They announced a settlement a day later. And of course, there's a 56-year-old priest who was sentenced to life sentence in prison on Friday for 5 counts of sexual trafficking in northern Ohio. Early this year, he was found guilty of using his affiliations with the Catholic school and eventually coercing the victims into engaging in commercial sex acts and manipulating the opioid addiction they developed. And lastly, an Ohio man this Ohio man was indicted on Friday by the federal grand jury for sexual trafficking of 14 people, using a 15-year-old to create child pornography. Those headlines are just proof of what we've heard today as we listen to those who have partnered with us so far. And human trafficking is a growing problem, and it is in every state, in every community, and of course in Wisconsin, it's in all 72 counties. But as a man, we can make a difference. As men come together, like she stated earlier, Dr. Williamson, I'm so sorry. As she stated earlier, there's a difference between men and boys. And as Ken stated earlier, and several others, there's a difference between being a father and a dad, and just being someone that actually cares for other humans. So that, with that being stated, those headlines kind of really emphasizes the importance of us doing the work, getting out there in the front lines. Yes, saying something and doing something, but much like Tom had stated earlier, getting involved in educating others. As Daryl had stated earlier, getting involved, educating others. As Marcus has said, getting involved in educating others. So with that, I'd like to show a short video with the first person that we see on the Conversions website. We hope to share this video with several people in all of your social media platforms if you have those available. Definitely show it to as many as possible. Ideally, one man showing it to two men showing it to 4 men, and so on. And that way, we'll get an opportunity to have everyone see that this is an atrocity, and yes, you can be a part of it. And as men, as Dr. Lassiter had stated, it makes an impact to the women that see men step up and do this. And of course, kudos out to fraternities that want to join this as well and be a part of that. So the Omegas, I have several friends that are Omegas, so I appreciate you guys jumping in and being a part of that. With that being said, we have a short video, and then after that,
there's a major crime occurring in plain sight in every community, from rural areas, small towns, suburbs, and cities. It's human trafficking, the second largest criminal enterprise in the world, with an estimated $150 billion a year gross profit. Human trafficking is a crime in which a person or persons compels another person or persons to perform an act or provide a service using force, fraud, or coercion, unless the person is under 18 years old, in which case force, fraud, or coercion do not need to be present. Simply put, it's modern-day slavery. It is present in every community, big and small. Human trafficking is present in every industry, in every community. Labor trafficking where a person is forced to work against their will, can involve farms, factories, and businesses of every size. Victims are young and old, men, women, and children of all races, ethnic groups, and socioeconomic status. No one is immune. Rich, poor, and middle class are all susceptible. Human trafficking enslaves more than 27 million people a year worldwide. Human trafficking also leads to other crimes, both on our streets and in the halls of power. Its massive profits fuel more crime. The United States is the #1 customer for the commercial sex trade in the world. Sex trafficking accounts for 80% of human trafficking in the U.S. The vast majority of human trafficking victims know their traffickers, a family member, friend, or partner. Men are the largest part of the customer base for the commercial sex trade. That is why we are asking men to take the lead in saying no to human trafficking. It is important that survivors of human trafficking and those still trapped in it know that men are standing up to this heinous crime. HEMAD, human trafficking educators working with men and boys to stand against the demand, was designed for men to take a stand against the demand for sex trafficking. It is a way that men in every community can show their support and lessen the demand. Join the thousands of men who have already said, "I am taking a stand against sex trafficking." Go to convergenceresource.org, register on the HEMAD page, and take the pledge. Then share a link to the website on your social media and ask other men to join you and take the pledge. Do that, and you will be joining an army of men that are standing up for every woman, teen, or child victimized by human trafficking. Because the more people know, the more they're empowered to stop this crime.
Okay, with that being shown, are you ready to take the HEMAD pledge? All right, I see some thumbs up. And all you really need to do is just repeat after me and state your own name in the pauses. So what we have been doing is raising our right hand to take this pledge, and we simply state, I'm going to put my own name, Arnold.
Arnold, could you hold on a second while I pull up the
Yes.
pledge, please?
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry, I wasn't quite ready.
Oh, so sorry. Oh, he's got his.
Oh, okay. All right,
Tom's
let
got
me,
his own.
all right, I was doing this from the beginning and just sharing, and we should be ready.
Okay, I see some hands up. They've got
Do you
theirs.
see that? Oh, they got it already? Okay, well, go ahead. Just go ahead. I'll catch up.
Okay, so I, Arnold,
Pledge
pledge to educate men on the importance of ending human trafficking. We of HEMAD pledge to work to eradicate the business of human trafficking for our women, for our men, and for the world. It is my duty not to stand by and let the industry of human trafficking benefit off the backs of the innocent. Therefore, I pledge my heart, my mind, my body, and spirit to the eradication of an industry that seeks to destroy life rather than build it up. Well, congratulations. You are the first members of an army of men to take the HEMAD pledge this year. And I am excited about that. This is our 6th year. The first year, we had 3,000 men take this pledge to stand against human trafficking. And in our 2nd year, we hope to double that. And we ended up with 30,000 men in 11 states and 2 foreign countries to take this pledge, thanks to social media. We had to conduct virtual campaigns for several years because of the pandemic. But despite that, the moment continues, this movement continues to grow to nearly 60,000 men, and we're still counting. And of course, this year, we're looking for 75,000 men to take this pledge and to spread this word throughout, educating men, getting men involved, getting men excited, getting men out there to say, hey, women, we're standing for you, not as boys, but as men. So thank you so very much for participating, for being a part of this movement, because it is not just a particular thing that happens just once. This is going on. This is continuous. Although we have our kickoff today, this is all throughout the year. If you see something, say something, get involved, stand up, be the man that God has created you to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnold, and to all of our speakers. We encourage all the men who participated today and who are watching this to share the video on your social media. Link to the HEMAD page, which is convergenceresource.org/HEMAD. Use the hashtags HEMAD, Take the Pledge HEMAD, and human trafficking. And encourage men that you know at work, at the gym, at church, or to watch this video. Take the pledge and share it with other men. Sharing this and urge them to join you, we can get the word out across the country and meet our goal of having 75,000 men join the HEMAD team. Thank you all for joining us today and making a difference in standing against human trafficking. Have a great day.